I know you're not be able to tell today because it's a little overcast, but the future is bright for several teams here in Cleveland. For the Cavs this past weekend, what we all expected. Evan Mobley signing his rookie max extension to stay with the Cavs. A procedural move. You were happy your big move was Donovan Mitchell. Cavs get Evan Mobley on his rookie extension. It seems like trade's unlikely at this point, and you get ready to go for the season. But we talk about the future for the Cavs organization. Who's it more tied to? Is the future of this team more tied to your young superstar in Donovan Mitchell or your young, what you hope to be, future superstar in Evan Mobley? They're both going to be here for the foreseeable future. They work together, we think, but it's interesting to dive into with the Cavs trying to go win a championship. Is it more tied to Evan Mobley or Donovan Mitchell? And you might call me crazy and say, oh, it's Donovan Mitchell all the way. I'm actually going to make the case that it might be Evan Mobley who holds the future of this franchise in his very large hands. He's a tall guy. I think he might actually have a bigger key for the Cavs' success moving forward. So we got some wine and gold to talk about this morning. We'll dive into the Guardians, man. Dude, I know Stephen Vogt is trying to calm the waters about not putting up runs and all that. You know, we put up 7 the other night. Don't like what I saw with the Guardians coming out of the All-Star break. We'll discuss that as we get closer to the trade deadline. Plenty of football on Happy Rookie Report Day. Got a lot of football to get to this morning as well. Talking about the future. ESPN. Future rankings for all 32 teams. They take into account 4 things. Roster minus the quarterback individually, coaching, and the front office. Where is the future for the Cleveland Browns? We'll get to that. A giant honor for LeBron James as he'll be the flag bearer, the male flag bearer for the United States Olympic squad. I got a bit of a hot take on that. You know, I used to do Hot Take Tuesday way back in the day. It's a show where we just did nothing but hot takes. Food, sports, music, all of it. I got a little bit of a hot take when it comes to Bron and that honor for him. We'll get to the bracket this morning. We got our grid, time hop, morning update. Ken Miles might stop by. Folks, we're going to name the horse. Well, not today, but our vote is out. I retweeted it at Matt Fontana 83, but it's at Big Play. We're asking you to help submit your, well, not submit. We have the names, but you got to vote on the names. You see it right there on the screen. Those were the 5 that we got. You can vote on it at Big Play, and Ken's going to come in a little bit later. We'll discuss where we're at with naming the horse. A lot of fun stuff going on with our friends at My Racehorse, so that is all coming up on a jam-packed Monday right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. Happy to have you alongside. You can always follow at Matt Fontana Show. We're up on Twitter, X. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the IG when you can. So the big news for the Cavs over the weekend, it's not a shock. They knew they were going to sign Evan Mobley to his rookie max extension. He gets it. The money can obviously change. He starts at $224, can get up to almost $270 with different things that happen, and he's here. He's here. No part of me that regrets that. You know, remember the excitement when Mobley fell to us in the draft and you swoop him up, and he's shown you a lot over his couple of years with the Cavs. Would you like a little more offensive output? Yes. He's already one of the best defenders in basketball, and now he's on his rookie extension. He's here. I started the show by saying, and we're going to post this as our Twitter question this morning, right? I'll leave it up to you on exactly how we want to phrase this. Is the future success of the Cavs more tied to Donovan Mitchell or Evan Mobley? I think that might be the way it works. Is the future success of the Cavs more tied to Donovan Mitchell or Evan Mobley? Now, you would instantly feel like the answer is Donovan Mitchell. He is your superstar player. He is the best player on your team. It was massive when he signed his extension to stay here. And you have built and will continue to build the team all around Donovan Mitchell. My kind of case for Evan Mobley is, though, I know what I'm going to get out of Donovan Mitchell. I know what I'm supposed to get out of him. I think the key for the Cavs' success really is going to be Evan Mobley. And if he can ascend and step up on the offensive side of things and truly turn into the big that you hope that he can, the big that everybody in the league covets. He can stretch the floor if his outside shot can step up a little bit. Now we're talking. Now we're talking about a legitimate threat to the other teams in the East. I'm not blind. I understand the Cavs right now, maybe at best, are the fourth best team in the East, maybe even fifth. You've got a gauntlet that's not going anywhere. The Knicks are built for years. The Celtics are not going anywhere, whether you not believe in Paul George in Philly and what he's going to be with Joel Embiid. You have a gauntlet to run through, and it's not going to be easy. You start with your star. That's why I actually think the more pivotal player for the Cavs is getting Evan Mobley to the level that you hope he can be. And maybe that's a pipe dream. Maybe there is no offensive. Will he ever become, I'm trying to even think, like, I want to say Giannis, but like all those comparisons, like what was the big one? Tim Duncan. Everybody wanted, Tim Duncan. I mean, that's a Hall of Famer right there. But Evan Mobley has some things you can't teach. The height, the ball skills. If he can just continue to develop that outside shot, now you're talking about the position that everybody in the NBA wants. Everybody wants a player like Evan Mobley. But right now it's just a dream. He's not there yet. And I've liked the development so far. And even if he just turns out to be an all defensive type of player in his career, I don't know, Ryan, would you feel let down by that if it was, I don't want to say this is the best version of Evan Mobley you get, but what if he doesn't ascend on the offensive side of things?
Well, I would be let down given the fact he's making $200 million. You're not paying $200 million for a guy who's just defensive centerpiece.
It's a great point, but then like, you look around the rest of the league and you see all of these guys that are just getting insane amount of money. And you were always going to offer him that deal. I think he was always going to take it. To your point, you're right. And does Darius Garland factor into that at all? You gave him that money, and it didn't go well for him this season. I also come back to the guard-dominated teams. I don't know if it's one of the biggest things about the Cavs. And I'm so happy that Donovan Mitchell is here. I have a legitimate fear about being a guard-dominated team because I don't see a lot of teams that have success with that. The Celtics are built because they have a bunch of really good wing players. Who's a guard-dominated team other than Steph Curry, which, again, take what you want about the Warriors. Like Jalen Brunson with the Knicks, they still needed to get him help. You got big men in Philly. Luka is a guard, but he plays bigger than that. They have Kyrie. They still didn't win the championship. Like, maybe I'm too hung up on that. And you got to do the best with what you're given. You're not getting rid of Donovan Mitchell. He's here. But that's why I think the future success for the Cavs is more directly tied to Evan Mobley. Because if you get him to that level that maybe is unattainable, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but if Kenny Atkinson, which I have to believe one of the big reasons he's here is Evan Mobley, and you can get him to being an offensive first type of big man, now we're going places. Now we can start talking about the real future for the Cavs. As long as Donovan Mitchell is here, he's going to be a number one. There's no question on that. And you're going to do things and build it around what is best for Donovan Mitchell. That's why I think the Cavs' success is more tied to what you get out of Evan Mobley, because that's the unknown. I think I know what Donovan Mitchell is. He's elite. I know that. He's a scorer. He can do it. It's the X factor of Mobley that's got me a little interested. That's more of if I think the Cavs are going to get back into this to go in to win a championship. Dude, Eastern Conference Finals doesn't do it for me anymore, right? Second round of the playoffs doesn't do it for me anymore. And you also then stare at the gauntlet that you have in the East. It's kind of more Evan Mobley for me. It really is. And it doesn't mean that he and Mitchell, they're going to be the keys moving forward. You knew that the franchise was going to fall into their hands. Yeah, whatever happens with Jared Allen, yeah, whatever might happen with Darius Garland. Cavs are kind of hamstrung right now on what moves they can make. Your future is bright. Most teams would sign up for a Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley combo moving forward. And again, then when you sprinkle in Allen and Garland, there's a lot worse teams out there. But I guess the X factor for me is what can Evan Mobley bring to the floor? What can he do with his further development? Then I ask myself the question, is that maybe something that will necessitate a move? Does that necessitate moving on from Jared Allen to really let Evan Mobley grow? and really let him become the player you hope he can be. Is Jared Allen slowing things down? And that's more for the Cavs to figure out and for Kobe Altman. It's become apparent at this point there is no trade to be had. And you will start this season with the core four. I did not think that was going to happen. And frankly, I'd still like to make a trade, probably more for Garland. He's not holding up Evan Mobley, though. Jared Allen's the one. Is this offense, is this team going to have this flip where Allen doesn't fit anymore? Are you going to turn it more to an, like the Cavs won for defense for a couple of years with JB Bickerstaff, and they were a really, really good defensive team. Again, you're going against the grain in the NBA. If you got that full flip and you need Mobley to take your steps forward on offense with Donovan Mitchell, then that's going to necessitate you making a move at the trade deadline. You're going to have to. But you got to also see the development from Mobley. And listen, Kenny Atkinson's got to win games. I think his future, his tenure in Cleveland is tied more to Evan Mobley than anything. Are you going to see the player development that you got from Kenny Atkinson and his other spots, the reason that he's here? That's why, again, I keep coming back to Evan Mobley. Retweeted it this morning already at Matt Fontana Show, asking everybody the future success for the Cavs. Is it more tied to Evan Mobley or Donovan Mitchell? Early results, about 66-33 on the side of Donovan Mitchell. I'm making the case for Evan Mobley because I think it's actually the answer. I know what I'm getting with Mitchell. Evan Mobley is the one that if it goes well and he becomes the guy I hope he can be, we instantly then become a championship contending team. It's a lot to put on a young man like Evan Mobley, though. Ryan, cast your vote. Cavs' future more tied to which of those guys?
Yeah, I'm still going to vote Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
If in the instance Evan Mobley can really ascend to being a top 5, top 3 center in the league, which is the hope, right? Then maybe, because Donovan Mitchell's obviously never going to have the defensive skill set and ability to do on that end of the floor what Evan Mobley can do. But I don't know if I see a world, Matt, where Evan Mobley becomes a better player than Donovan Mitchell. And
that's a great point. Yeah.
And, that's not even a knock to Evan Mobley. I think Donovan Mitchell right now, we would all agree, is a top 15, if not top 10 player in the NBA. And so that being said, I'm not sure Evan Mobley can ever get to that. Now, listen, if he develops into a Jokic type, an Embiid type, and that is a lot to ask. And I'm not sure if Evan Mobley even kind of has, for a lack of better terms, that dog in him, if you will. And I guess we'll find that out. But I mean, yeah, if Evan Mobley comes and he can shoot 6 threes a game and he's clipping 3 of them a game, then yeah, that's going to totally change the way the Cavs are. And your point with Jared Allen, like, is he really stunting Evan Mobley's growth? But then again, like,
it's a great question.
His 15 to 20 rebounds a game, is it going to be better without him and just Mobley?
Well, you would think that problem solves itself, because if Mobley can develop more of that outside game, then you just leave Jared Allen. And that could be the flip where you then have your center in in Jared Allen, and you can let Mobley roam a little bit and get out of the paint, but what are you then taking away? The best thing that Evan Mobley does right now is defense in the paint. And that's on the defensive side, no, not so much the offensive side. But that's something that the Cavs have to try to figure out. And now that Mitchell is here, and you know that he's going to be here and hopefully re-signs another deal here in a couple of years, but that's another element of this whole thing. I think a big piece of Donovan Mitchell's future beyond this deal is also tied to Evan Mobley. Because in 2 years, if he's not seeing the development, why would he stay? And I'm not trying to rush this away or bring up that Donovan Mitchell's leaving in 2027 or anything like that. But you have a short time here to show Donovan Mitchell this is a place you can win a championship. This is a place that we have the right pieces here to put around you. And I think the biggest one, it's a lottery ticket. Evan Mobley is a scratch-off right now, a scratcher. And what are you going to get? Are you going to hit something here? Or even at worst, if he is the player that he is right now, that's still a damn good player, but now you're talking about we got to go find somebody else or we got to go get somebody else. I try to do that of like, that series against Boston, not having Allen and Mitchell, what were you going to do, right? Like, is it that far-fetched to picture this Cavs team in a finals? Could you picture this Cavs team in an NBA Finals
right now,
up against the Dallas Mavericks?
So yeah, I couldn't picture it.
Yeah, that's my point. That's kind of the hard vision to have, because you'd be saying who's going to slow that guy down or who's going to score. And I'm being unfair to Darius Garland, Because if I'm going to sit here and put all my hope into Evan Mobley, why am I not putting hope into Darius Garland? Why am I not having the same outlook for Darius Garland and the hope for Darius Garland?
He's a guard.
Exactly. That's exactly it for me.
He's the same height as us.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard to do. It's hard to win in the NBA that way. So we'll see. Evan Mobley signing his rookie extension. Congratulations to him. That's a big day for him and certainly for the Cavs organization. Overall, the future is bright. But I think the step up for the Cavs is going to be directly tied to Evan Mobley. So go vote. Follow us on Twitter at Matt Fontana Show and cast your vote. We're split here on the show. The Cavs' future success, is it more tied to Evan Mobley or to Donovan Mitchell? Vote on that. We'll get plenty of basketball coming up in a little bit. Flip over to football. Happy report day. The rookies are in town, ready to go. Veterans in tomorrow. Training camp, always a lot of fun. Biggest thing for the Browns, as it's been, is Amari Cooper going to show up tomorrow? I don't know. I mean, if I was a betting man, I would say probably not. Now, the thing is, doesn't he have to show up so he can get on the plane to go to Greenbrier? Is he going to find his own way there? I don't know. I mean, I'm not that concerned. He's been throwing with Deshaun Watson. It'll work itself out. It'll work itself out. And eventually the pressure will start to mount for Andrew Berry to get some sort of deal done with Amari Cooper. We're all just kind of waiting in this holding pattern right now. I don't know, Ryan, as we're even here, we discussed it a lot last week. I'm not overly concerned about the Amari Cooper thing. They'll find some deal to get him. And, you know, maybe I'm wrong for just assuming that it's going to be that easy to get it done. They'll find a way. One way or another, they're going to get Amari Cooper in here. If he misses a couple training camps, practices, so what?
Yeah, I don't really care about him missing training camp. I mean, this dude's been through how many training camps now in his career? He's been through a couple with the Browns now. They say he's throwing every day with Deshaun Watson. So it's not like he's disconnected from the team. He's just still trying to figure out his money. Hope it gets resolved. I need it to get resolved. And it's tough. It's business. But I think they'll come to some type of mutual decision. And obviously we won it earlier than later, but I mean, it is what it is at this point.
Exactly. And we'll have a lot of the storylines, the Chubb, the Watson, some of the offensive line questions. You're just going to get back to some football, which is great. And that's the biggest thing for a big season coming up for the Browns. Start watching training camp. They'll be down there at the Greenbrier. Dude, before you know it, we're going to have preseason football. What are we, 2 weeks away, I think? Almost 3, probably. Just some preseason football. Be there before you know it. So I flip over to ESPN this morning, which is, they do this pretty often in the offseason, of the future power rankings for all 32 teams. So it's Dan Graziano, Louis Riddick, and Aaron Schatz. They sit down and they weigh this in 4 different categories. They do the roster outside of the quarterback, the coach, and the front office. And these are weighed differently. 20% of the rankings is the quarterback, 30% is the roster, 25% each for the front office and then the coaching staff. And the 3 of them sit down and they come up with a score. 100 is the A+ elite. So we're on a 100 grading scale here. Ryan, if you had to guess, the brightest future in the NFL goes to which team?
I guess the Chiefs.
It is the Chiefs. On a scale of 100, they got a 95.3. They have the best quarterback, the best coach, second best overall roster, second best overall front office. And then for each team, they went for reason for hope, reason for concern, and a nugget to know. So we'll get to the Browns here in a second. So number 1 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 2.
49ers?
No.
Okay. Texans?
No.
The Eagles?
Nope.
The Ravens?
The Ravens are correct. 4 for the roster, 4 for the quarterback, 5 for the coach, and 3 for the front office. Reason for hope, Derrick Henry, which you know where I stand on this whole Derrick Henry thing. I'm not saying he's not good anymore, but I think people are too much on it. Reason for concern, they lose Todd Monken as their offensive coordinator. Or actually, no, wait. Reason for concern, he's still there. They changed on the offense. What's that?
They lost Mike McDonald.
Mike McDonald, that's right. That's right. Monken's still there. Their reason for concern is the offensive line. We'll see how it goes. Number 3 for the brightest future in the NFL, a team you've not mentioned yet.
AFC or NFC?
AFC. Weighed heavy for their quarterback.
The Bengals?
No.
Not the Chargers.
No.
Okay.
No.
Not the Bills.
It is the Bills.
Still?
Because the quarterback is 2. Their roster outside of the quarterback is 10. Yeah. Reason for hope is Josh Allen. Concern they don't have any receivers. Detroit is 4 as the number 1 NFC team for the future with an 89 score out of 100. Eagles are 5. Houston 6. San Francisco 7. Bengals 8. Packers 9. Dolphins 10. So again, this is the future power rankings in the NFL based on quarterback, roster, front office, and coaching. Browns are not in the top 10, but they're damn close at 11. 11 with an 84 score for their future. Quarterback, 26. 26. Overall roster, 12. Front office, 7. Coaching staff, 6. So could you imagine the score where we would be if Deshaun Watson was not, as they'd rank him, the 26th best quarterback in the NFL? The reason for hope for the Browns' future from Dan Graziano. The Browns have a deep roster headlined by one of the best overall players in the game in Myles Garrett and 2-time Coach of the Year in Kevin Stefanski, who proved last season he can engineer success even when things fall apart at the quarterback position. Speaking of, Deshaun Watson hasn't looked right since he got to Cleveland, but he's only 28, so it's not absurd to think that he still might be able to turn it around. That's from Dan Graziano. The reason for concern is Watson's shoulder, as we know. He's only played in 12 games, completing just 59.8% of his throws, 14 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. His 2023 season ended with the shoulder injury. Although the team went 5-1 in the 6 games he did play last season, Watson has to be available first and foremost to elevate his play to justify the guaranteed money. There it is. And the structure has never been seen before with his NFL deal. The one nugget to know from Aaron Schatz, the one position where the Browns may need to add for future success is wide receiver. Number 1 target, Amari Cooper, is 30 years old and wants the extension beyond this season. Browns already gave one to Jerry Jeudy after landing him in a trade, but Jeudy was tied for just 58th amongst wide receivers in ESPN's receiving tracking metrics last year. Slot receiver Elijah Moore was tied for 81st, and his contract ends after this season. Could we get a breakout from a guy like Cedric Tillman after his rookie year last year, which is 224 yards? So we'll see. I think that's obviously pretty solid. And again, when you run through this list of at least the top 11, how many AFC teams are there? Miami, us, Bengals, Ravens, Houston, Kansas City. The NFC teams are the Lions, the Eagles, the Packers. That's it. That's it. So you're very heavily, and the 49ers. The 49ers are in there too. So you're weighed heavy on the offense. But I was actually happy that they gave the love to Kevin Stefanski like they did. And I also wondered about the ranking of the rest of the roster. Like, do you feel like the Browns overall minus Deshaun Watson have just the 12th best roster in the NFL? I thought that was a little low for them as well.
Yeah, I think that's a little low, and I think that's the only one I would have a gripe with. But, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, the Browns' overall team is great, but you have one glaring hole, and it's a quarterback, and we know that's the one position you can't afford to have a glaring hole in, right? Like, even if you had the first best roster, if you have a quarterback that's not moving the chains or doing anything, you're not going anywhere. That's the unfortunate reality of the NFL.
I mean, the thing is, the solution is built in. Your solution is Deshaun Watson turns it around and plays to the level that you expect him to. So it's already there. It's already, like, you don't have to go find your guy, right? We might have to do that in the future, but it's not right now. You don't have some rookie coming in that you hope might be it, right? Your solution is built in. You just have to get the most out of Deshaun Watson. And I think, so here's the other interesting thing. Right behind the Browns were the Rams with a score of 83. So again, we were about 84 for 11 for future power rankings. They're kind of the same thing. 3rd best coach, 8th best front office, 16th best roster, a little bit lower than us, but they only put Matt Stafford at 22. So it's the same thing. Now, you feel better about Matt Stafford probably this season than you would Deshaun Watson for a lot of those reasons, which I get, but it's the same thing. It's built in. If you just get your quarterback to play to the level that you expect them to, we're gravy. We're good. Now, you got to stare at the Bengals. You're going to have to go through the Ravens. You have a really tough schedule in the late half of the season. I understand all of that. But at least the option is there. You're not searching for the guy. You're searching for the version of the guy that's already here. You're searching for the version of Deshaun Watson that I have hope is still out there. What do they always say? Sometimes you can't see the forest through the trees. That's the toughest thing for me right now. I'm trying to find that vision of what I think Deshaun Watson is going to be. And I have to remind myself it still could be there. It's dark right now. It's tough. Yeah, I went 5-1, the injuries and all that. Not played football basically for 3 years. It's been a tough go. But you got to hold that hope out that he's going to be the answer. And all the other stuff that comes with it after this season and what you can do with your roster and the money and all that stuff, we'll deal with that later. But the version of Deshaun Watson, it's still got to be there. It's still, I hope, is there. And it also comes back to how the Browns want it to look. You know, I've said before, I want it all to be on Deshaun Watson. I don't mind them throwing the football 35 times a game. If the A, that's how you win in today's NFL more often than not. And B, I'm going to find out what he is. I'm going to put it on him to get it figured out. Is he going to show up?
Yeah, and it's not like, I mean, you talked about it. Yes, we know who it is. This isn't a rookie quarterback where we have to see if he can translate to the NFL. This isn't a aging guy like we saw with like a Jacoby Brissett or somebody like that. And like, if you ask me who would I rather have going into next season, just because you brought him up, Matt Stafford, we mentioned. Next season, would I rather have Stafford or Deshaun? I'm taking Deshaun because for the fact of right now in their stages of their career, I think Deshaun has a higher ceiling. As he should. He's younger.
He's
younger. We saw what he was in Houston. So I'm taking Deshaun there. And yeah, I mean, it's a mystery what he's going to be. But the chance that he's really good is still there. Like, yes, you mentioned it's dark. And I get it. Like, it's the first year he came here, got suspended what was it, 12, 11 games, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. That's tough. And then he gets injured and is out basically the whole season next year. So, like, it's hard to see that future. But the reality is that it's still there. And I'm not going to say it's a 50-50. Like, yeah, I'm going to be maybe a little bit pessimistic because I'm a Browns fan. That's what we do. But, like, at the end of the day, Deshaun Watson could still come out here and be a top 10 quarterback. And if that's the case, then we have the team. Because you're not beating a Patrick Mahomes right now with Matt Stafford. You need the best version of Deshaun Watson to do that.
Well, and you need a defense. We have that with Myles Garrett. You've got everything else built. And there's that element that you would think the rest of the team would do what? Take pressure off Deshaun Watson. You don't have to do it all, man. You don't have to be this superhero out there. Just play your role. Now, again, part of me wants to see him with some superhero type of stuff and some plays that you go, yep, that's it right there. And there's still an elevation needed for him with some of these receivers. Now, let's flip back over to Mari Cooper because Mary Kay wrote about this over the weekend. And this was from her article on Saturday. She writes from Cleveland.com. The Browns hope to reach a contract agreement with Cooper before the start of camp this week so he doesn't have to miss a beat. She reports the two sides have been in contact and are trying to strike a deal that Cooper feels good about heading into his third season. Isn't that crazy? He's only been here for 2 years. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. That can't, no. Right? Is that it? Did he come here when Deshaun Watson came here?
I mean, he didn't play with Baker.
That's right. He's only, God, man. Doesn't that seem weird? It can't be right.
He didn't play with Baker.
I mean, I know he's obviously had the 2 back-to-back years of 1,000 yards, and he's the first player to do that in Browns. Dude, it's only been 2 years. Isn't that crazy? It feels like it's been more.
Yeah, it's just Brissett.
It's like it's kind of like dog years. It's felt like 7 years with everything that's going on. So Mary Kay continues. He's set to make $20 million in the final year of his contract and wants to be closer to his elite peers, are now making anywhere from $24 to $35 million, with 4 of them north of $30 million. I love Amari Cooper. I ain't trying to hurt his bottom line. He's not making $30 million a year with the Cleveland Browns. That's just not happening. There are several ways to go about it, as Mary Kay writes, including an extension or a bump in salary this year, plus maybe some incentives. If they can modify his 2024 salary without an extension, the two sides can revisit a longer deal during the season or after it. I wanted to bring that up for this point. Do you think that's legitimately on the table for Amari Cooper? If you were Amari Cooper and the Browns sat down with you and said, hey, let's redo your deal for this season. So we give you $26 million. You get a $5, $6, maybe even $7 million bump for this upcoming season, which the Browns really don't have that money, by the way, but whatever. We'll give you the bump. We'll cross that bridge coming up a little bit later. Would you accept that if I'm Amari Cooper? Now, I can be a not irrational type of person. I'm one, as I've grown, as I've gotten older, I realize that I'm sometimes best when I take a step back and take a breath. Like, I can be a quick snap kind of emotional person. Because my initial reaction would be like, blank off. Like, no, absolutely not. The hope that you get a deal, like, I still really think it's going to have to be a multi-year thing here. Like, I know that's one avenue, and he feels like he can make that money up a little bit this year. I know Mary Kay's just bringing this up as a potential option. And trust me, I hope I'm wrong. Maybe that's a nice, easy solution for everybody. That's one I didn't buy, though. That's one that I didn't really think works, of going to him and saying, we'll give you a little bump now. He wants longevity. He wants security at this point of his career. Now, let's say he does take the one-year deal, and after this season, he probably still feels like he could go get a deal from another team. But I think a factor's got to be for him is playing on a good team. Like, do you really want to be Odell Beckham, just kind of putzing around? Now, it worked for him. He got a Super Bowl ring, and he's been on 2 straight playoff contending teams now beyond that, with Baltimore now down in Miami. I don't know if you want to enter that. You really want to be bouncing around. And even if he fell into the number 2 role here behind Jerry Jeudy, which would be great, still to get paid, I still can't shake that notion of the Browns getting their first-round picks back and using those on wide receivers. I think if you're the Browns, that would be the number one case. Give Amari Cooper a little bit more money for this season. Don't give him any more longevity beyond this year. But I think that comes off insulting, does it not? And then maybe you've either burned the bridge or made it that much harder to get some long-term deal done. Maybe I'm reading the situation wrong. I don't know.
Well, first of all, I don't ever see a scenario where while Amari Cooper's on the Browns, Jerry Jeudy ascends to be this quote-unquote wide receiver 1. I don't see that happening. I think Amari Cooper is right now still at his age worlds above Jerry Jeudy is. But I mean, I guess to that point of the 1-year deal, there's perks and there's pros and cons, right? Obviously, a big part of these contracts is they want more guaranteed, they want longevity. But then at the same time, if you're Amari Cooper, okay, if they're not going to give you that, then maybe, okay, you get $7 more million this year. You go ball out. You know, maybe you can make it work with the Browns after this year. If you can't, some team's going to throw a bag at you. You look what they just did with Calvin Ridley, who has less body of work. But then again, what happens if, like we said, Amari Cooper goes out there on this 1 year, tears his ACL. Now he's 31, coming off an ACL tear. No team's throwing him the bag.
Right.
So it is a gamble. But, I mean, if you're Amari Cooper, if that's all the Browns are going to give you, what are you going to do? Sit out?
Well, and I thought about this, too. I'm going to Google. You would think, again, I Google wide receiver contracts almost every day on this show. And I'm like, I think I'd have it down by now. Because my whole point was going to be, and Mary Kay writes, that affords Amari to do what? Go cash in next offseason. Am I reading it wrong that I think a lot of the wide receiver money is going to dry up? Everybody got paid already. There's not going to be this, and I guess that would then help Amari Cooper because he's entering a free agent class next year that could do next year potential free agents. Let's say that nothing happens with Amari Cooper, they get him a little bit more money, and he comes up to 2025 free agency, right? 2025 free agent wide receivers. Spotrac, here we go. No, I don't want running backs. I want receivers. Here we go. You'll have T. Higgins, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Deontay Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams, Robert Woods, Marquise Brown, Darius Slayton, Noah Brown. So just as it stands, you could make the case that Amari Cooper would either be the 3rd or 4th best receiver on the open market next year behind Diggs, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, and then again Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks. Now, here's the interesting thing about all those guys. Outside of T. Higgins, they're all over the age of 32.
Yeah.
So that's where I think teams did the right thing this offseason. A lot of wide receiver deals handed out. There's not going to be a lot. Now, again, and the flip could be it'll be a slow class, so to speak. Maybe I can cash in. And I just keep coming back to the draft, where I think teams see it a little like the quarterback. You're better off drafting your future wide receiver, your future number one, and there's a plethora of them. Same thing. Eventually, is that not going to dry up? You've had, 4 straight years of some pretty damn good receivers coming out of the draft. That eventually will catch up to itself. And, I know Emeka Egbuka down in Ohio State, and there's a couple other guys, that's fine. Eventually, that will dry up. Those are all the things that the Browns are trying to project and forecast, but the same thing for Amari Cooper. I think if they offered him, I'm still going to stick to this. Give him a 3-year deal. Say, we're going to rip up this last year of your deal. You will be under contract for 24, 25, and 26. Here's a little pay boost, more flexibility for Andrew Berry to be able to move the money around as needed fit with the void years and all that other kind of stuff. But right now, you don't have a giant surplus to give him the money he wants for this season coming up. And you don't do player options and stuff like that, but could you see it as being a 3-year deal on paper, but really only 2? All the big money is up front. Again, they don't have the flexibility for it right now. It's not easy. And again, I think there's optimism there with what Mary Kay is writing about when trying to get this deal done. Here's the other thing. Amari Cooper's already been fined $102,000 by missing out his 3-day minicamp and his holdout. Cooper will be docked $50,000 a day for every day he doesn't show up for training camp. But as Mary Kay writes, do we get the hold in? Remember when Kareem Hunt did that? I'm going to show up, but I'm not going to practice. I'm going to be here, but I'm not going to practice because of my contractual dispute here. Then he's not getting fined. He's still around. And I think the hold in, that puts more pressure on the Browns. That puts a lot more pressure on them to try to get it done because you're staring at him every day. You see him every single day trying to get going. So it's something that, again, I'm not overly concerned about it. I'm keeping my eye on it, and I think there's a lot of optimism that there will be a deal done there for the Browns. All right, you want to finish out the rankings here? So, again, this is the future rankings in the NFL based on roster, quarterback, coaching, front office, and all that. The Browns are 11. We know the Ravens and the Bengals are already ahead of you. The Steelers were at 15, which I thought was a little shocking. 7 for the coach, 17th for front office, 15th best roster in the NFL minus the quarterback, but 28th when it comes to the quarterback situation there. The reason for hope, TJ Watt gets something out of George Pickens, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren. The reason for concern, they don't have explosive plays, and you don't know what you're getting with Justin Fields nor Russell Wilson. You see how it goes. Who do you think has the bleakest outlook of all the NFL teams? Who was 32nd in this ranking with not having an extremely bright future in the NFL?
I mean, just teams that come to mind. Like, I could say the Panthers.
They were 30th.
Yeah, I mean, if Bryce Young can be something, we'll see. I mean, I don't think the Giants have anything.
They were like 28.
I mean,
29.
I don't think the Saints are cooking, really.
They're 31st. You're hovering this, man. Let me give you the rankings. This team had the 31st roster minus the quarterback. They had the 32nd quarterback room, only 29th for coaching and 28th for front office. That's it.
The Raiders?
That is it. Nice. The Vegas Raiders, dead last. They had a score of 66. 30 points behind the Chiefs, 20-odd some there behind the Browns. Reason for hope, they did sign Christian Wilkins. They still have Max Crosby. Reason for concern, it ain't going to be Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell, and you'll see how it goes there in Vegas. But they are dead last. So, again, they were 32nd. Saints were 31st. Panthers were 30th. 29 for the Giants, and 28 was the Arizona Cardinals. So I was on ESPN last night. Shout out to anybody that listened. But we were doing the most impactful players on new teams this year. We discussed the most impactful new players to all their teams. And I kept bringing up Marvin Harrison. Is he not going to be a giant impact for the Arizona Cardinals?
He should be.
He should be. What's he going to be with Kyler Murray? I get that it all comes back to the quarterback, but I was a little shocked to see the Cardinals down there as far as they go. But future is bright for the Browns, and we'll see on this Amari Cooper stuff. I tell you, I mean, we're on Twitter all morning, man. Could it be today? I could see that, right? Couldn't you?
What, an extension?
Yeah. Wouldn't today not be the day to get him in for tomorrow, ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, but the Browns can always
they can do it anytime
take away
they
the
want.
fines.
Yeah,
right?
they can do it anytime they want. Oh, yeah, and they'll waive those fines. They ain't going to force them to pay that. I get it all. But, yeah, I mean, today could be the day they're getting it going. Rookies are here. Dude, training camp, man. I ain't going to the Greenbrier, though. A lot of people are excited about that. They really, every little bit that I get from the team, from people that I know there, certainly with the players side, Greenbrier has been a great thing for them going there and getting their work in. They're away from the facility. The only negative is you don't get as many camps for the fans to go, which sucks because I know there's people that is their opportunity to go see the Browns in person. I love training camp. I love going to see these guys practice. It's awesome. But Greenbrier has been a big help for them. So maybe today's the day. If not, certainly tomorrow for the Browns. Dude, what's wrong with the Guardians? And, offensively, you struggle. No, do you see that? Bobby Witt had more hits this weekend than the Guardians did.
Yeah.
The last 2 days. And San Diego, I get, is a good team. Ben Lively's become Corey Kluber. He's pitching his ass off. And you have not shown up. Now, you got a series with the Tigers starting tonight. Carrasco, good. Unfortunately, who you facing tonight, Tariq Skubal, is not going to be easy to do. I need 3 out of 4 from the Tigers. You have got to win 3 out of 4 against the Tigers. The other thing, where's my fucking trade? Where is it? I know Matthew Boyd looked great in his rehab start, and he'll be back up here, and Tristan McKenzie had an all right start for the Clippers.
Did he, though?
A couple of runs.
It's 7 walks.
I know. I don't know. They need to do, here's the thing about the trade. You got to wake these guys up. And I like Stephen Vogt. He's going to be the AL manager of the year. He deserves it. Did you hear what he said after the game yesterday? He was basically going, well, we scored 7 runs on Friday. Yeah, that was Friday. Would you put up 3 hits over 2 games? I don't like it. He tried to say that they're not in a funk, that they're not scuffling. You see how the rest of you're 3-7 in your last 10. I don't like what I see. It's more about the approach. And even on that game on Friday, you were doing jack squat nothing until the late game. And then you just happened to show up a little bit. Are they tired? Have they been figured? It's not even the pitching. The pitching was, okay, Gavin Williams got roughed up a little bit on Saturday. Okay, fine. Ben Lively pitched his ass off. You cannot spoil games like that. It's a long season. I get it. You got to make a trade to shake this thing up, man. You have got to do something to wake this team up. And again, they go out there and they take it to the Tigers and maybe somehow go to Philly and take 2 out of 3 from the Phillies this upcoming weekend. Maybe I'll be singing a different tune in a week. I don't like what I see. They look like they're in a trance right now. They just look zonked out. I don't like the approach from some of the guys I'm seeing at the plate. And, oh, yeah, again, by the way, you got to face Tariq Skubal tonight. Is that just going to turn things around for you? We'll get to our wagers a little bit later in the show. But, for the team that you want to know my innate fear on this thing, that they started to smell themselves. They actually woke up and realized that they were hitting well. And now all of a sudden it's gone. It's a small sample size. I want to go back to the belief that I had in this offense a month ago. It's not there, though. And I'm not saying that you make a trade for not even necessarily an offensive bat to shake it up. But you know what I'm saying, Ron? I feel like they're kind of zombied right now. They're just kind of in this funk. You can shake them by making a trade. Because all you're doing there is signaling to them, we're going for this. It's just, it's like a wake-up call. I think that's what this team needs. I'm really concerned. I don't like what I see. I don't like what I see right now. It is
concerning because, what happened through the first 90 whatever games we're at right now, you were able to cover up your I guess I'll call it pedestrian pitching.
Sure.
If that's even what you want to call it. I mean, probably even worse than that outside of Tanner Bybee. But it's been covered up because we've been able to score runs and we've had power that we didn't think we had. Now that that's gone away, it exemplifies the difficulties that we're having in the starting rotation. And listen, every team's going to go through that slump, so you just hope they get back to it. But I'm frustrated too because you just drop games you know you shouldn't drop, and you're not even competing in these games, which is unfortunate. I guess I'm just going to save my frustration until after the deadline. If they don't do anything, then it'll really ramp up. But I mean, I don't like, and even then, I mean, how many, like we talk about this, how many sellers are there? I haven't like gone really looked at the numbers.
The reports are now the Blue Jays are done. They're in. They're full sell. You know, another team that is now reportedly in full sell mode, the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh.
So what do you want for Ellie?
Yeah, right.
God, that'd be such the gut puncher. I'm just joking, but like, that's the thing. There are teams that are going to start making their decisions now over the next week that they're going to be sellers. The only good thing is the Twins are scuffling a little bit right now too, so you're still back to a 5-game lead. Royals trying to get back into it, but just what? Come on now. And you had sellout crowds this weekend. To put up that kind of effort I hate that crap. I really do, but. Hopefully the Guardians will turn around. We'll get to our plays tonight coming up as they take on the Detroit Tigers. And again, tough one with Tariq Skubal. Basketball, big news this morning. LeBron is going to be the male flag bearer for the Olympic team. Literally, Team USA. Simone Biles and Katie Ledecky and Kyle Snyder and all the Olympians. LeBron's going to be the male flag bearer for the Olympics. I sent this out this morning. Ryan, I want you to tell me if you think this is a crazy take. I think that is one of his biggest career accomplishments and might even be more impressive than his MVPs. Reason being, okay, number one, they give out the MVP every year. This is every 4 years. Number two, he is doing that above some of the best athletes, and this is not just a basketball thing, right? He is standing, I mean to say like he's standing above, but he is the representative for the United States of America to carry that flag. And you talk about, the famous videos of Muhammad Ali lighting the torch and things like, I really think this is one of his biggest career accomplishments. And I think the scoring title will always be number one. The fact that will not be touched in the history of the game ever again, that he is the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. Done and dusted. Then I'd like to believe the Cavs championship is 2. And I think it might be. This might be 3 for me. Really. He's got Olympic gold already. But something like, I don't know, tell me, you think I'm crazy on that? Like, I had so many people tell me this morning, like saying, like, Matt, you're off base because the MVPs are what allowed him to do this. The base was him winning MVPs and winning championships to allow him to become the guy that's going to, flag bearer for Team USA. I really think this is pretty big, man. I think this is good for him. I mean, obviously, it's amazing for him. But as far as the career accomplishments, like, I don't know, might put too much on here?
I don't know. I mean, I'll listen to it. I don't know. I haven't thought about ranking his career accomplishments, but I mean, it's right. It's not just basketball. He's the first Olympic guy Olympic basketball player to be the flag bearer. And like you said, this is the basketball. When you think of Olympic sports, obviously basketball is there, but I think of swimming. I think of gymnastics. Even if you go to the winter, I think of skiing and all that. I don't know. Basketball to me isn't really a top Olympic sport, and I think certainly that's the case around the world too.
So I looked this up, this list, right? I have the list of all the flag bearers in United States Olympic history for the opening ceremony. Like John Schuster got to do it in the Winter Olympics in 2022. He does curling. In 2020. It was Eddie Alvarez who played baseball. But you go to 2016, it was Michael Phelps. And then Simone Biles did the closing ceremony. I guess, I don't know. I guess that's a little weird for me. Because now that I look at this list, it's not, I don't know. I guess there really isn't it's Olympics, so it's like different sports. You got speed skating, you've got bobsled in this whole thing. But I guess that it's just the fact that they picked it over some of the other amazing Olympic athletes to do it. I guess maybe I'm talking myself back a little bit. When they first announced it, I'm like, oh, first one ever. Like, that's really cool. it's got to be awesome for him. And I'm sure a big reason why he wanted to come and do the Olympics. And it's probably a little nod for him from the Olympic Committee to say, hey, man, thanks for showing up for this last one. We appreciate you. We're going to have you do this. Like I was scrolling through, and it's not, I guess it's not the end-all, be-all people, right? Like there's some people I've never even heard of before that have been the flag bearer for the United States in the Olympics. I guess just that he's standing above some of the other best Olympians you've ever heard of doing that. But I just thought it was pretty cool LeBron got that nod. Y'all concerned they almost lost to South Sudan? Everybody's freaking out about it. I don't really care.
I mean, I don't care, but I think it's pretty embarrassing.
They were 43.5 point favorites, and they won by 1 and needed LeBron to go superhero at the end.
I think, man, I don't care, to be honest with you. It's a scrimmage, so it wouldn't matter regardless. I think it's pretty damn embarrassing. When you look at those rosters, you have the most talented basketball players. Not only in they have the debate though.
They took them
champions
lightly.
of the world, champions of the United States. They took them
lightly. They thought they were going to roll over, and they didn't.
But that's still pretty embarrassing.
I mean, I guess I'm not worried about it. And the thing is, I'm so jaded because I just assume that they're going to just run through everybody. And if they needed a little wake up call to remind themselves that they're in this. And Steve Kerr took a lot of that on to say, okay, I didn't have these guys prepared and ready to go. They felt like they should be able to roll out the basketballs and that the starters, they've been playing into the second half, so they got to get ready to go. LeBron tried to say, these guys, that was the Olympics for South Sudan. And there's really a really interesting story. Luol Deng is the biggest reason why they are what they are. He got the money together. He was able to get the coaching. And a lot of those guys were NBA jobbers. I don't mean to take shots, but it is what it is. Some of these guys are just on 10-day contracts or really not NBA. So that was their Olympics. Their Olympics was not the group play coming up. It's, can we take this to Team USA basketball? You got every little bit that you could. They still found a way to get a win. They'll get Durant back too, which I think will help. But I'm so jaded because I just feel like they're going to roll through everybody. The interesting thing, though, about Team USA men's basketball, do you not just, they'll never be the dream team. Like, think about how the dream team has completely changed and shifted our mindset when it comes to men's basketball in the Olympics. You started with that when they first allowed the pro players to play. You'll forever be chasing that. You'll never get there. You will never get there. They're called the dream team for a reason. You will chase that. And no matter what, this team, or I'm going to dare say any team in the future, they'll never be better than that team. And they can do what Team USA did in 1990. They can win by 50 and just destroy everybody. The collection of Hall of Famers. And there might be a time that we look at this roster and go, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, it'll never touch the dream team. So that's an interesting dynamic about the level that we hold for these guys. When really this team should be in the same breath, they're not. And they never will be. So when stuff like that happens where they stumble, you get, I don't say angry, but you instantly start to compare them to the dream team and you get pissed off. That's why.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look at the collection of talent that's on that roster, like
they have no business losing any game by more than 2, but they should win every game by 20.
Right, but I don't think like it's like transition. I don't think it is as a big of a deal as it is for players nowadays than it was back then. Because like, just for instance, no offense to a guy like Derek White, but he doesn't belong in the same conversation as most of the people on that team.
Oh, right.
Like they're not going and getting the, like, looking at these rosters and be like, okay, we need the best 15 guys in the NBA. That's not the case. There's plenty of people that aren't on this team.
Here's the other interesting thing. The best 15 players in the NBA aren't United States. That's another flip that we got to remember. In the 90s, they were all American. They were all American players. There was no question on that.
Top 15 is probably more.
It's probably more Euros.
Probably more Europeans than Americans.
Right. And I know, again, Joel Embiid is playing for Team USA. He's from Cameroon, but still, Luka,
Jokic,
Giannis. I'm not going to put Wembanyama there yet, but Shai, oh God, other Canadian. Or is it just Shai? It's not Anthony Edwards. He's American.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. But again, like the collection is there's more Euros now than there ever have been. Where again, if you had Shai, you had Luka, you had Jokic, then we're having the same conversation. But they're not American. They're not playing here. So I think you're always chasing that ghost. That's part of the reason I think people are so pissed off about that game, which I'm with. It's an exhibition. I don't care. I really do not. And if anything, it woke them up. They got their other exhibition today. They'll get through that, and then they're off to the Olympics with opening ceremonies a week from Friday. I got no concern. The issue is, and the reason why I think so many people got pissed, you're chasing that ghost. You're going to forever chase that ghost to the dream team, and you're never going to get there. You'll never get there. There'll never be another collection like that team that you had back in the day. All right, we got a lot of coming up here in hour 2. I think, hang on, Ken just texted me. I think he's going to stop by. Yep, he's in. He'll be here a little bit later. So we got our naming for our horse. You want to pull that back up for the options there? I'm jaded because I said Improbable Luck. That's my vote on that. Aloha Money, Improbable Luck, Mow Me the Money, Big Caller, and then Big Play Mo is all up there. You can go vote at Big Play. I retweeted it this morning at Matt Fontana 83. Vote on that. And I will tell people that's not the end-all be-all vote. It's part of it. So we're still the owners of the horse. They're going to be involved with the naming. We still have to go through some other channels with the Jockey Association and things like that. But you can vote on that. I want to get Ken in here in hour 2, which we will discuss all the latest updates with that. Maybe future horse. You never know what's going to happen. We'll see. Monday, always one of our biggest days here at Big Play, though, folks. Tonight, Big Play Cleveland show. Jetson Lewis in to talk some baseball. Do you know, do we got anybody big special here for the Big Play Cleveland show today?
I believe the guest is Jimmy Hanlon.
Oh, nice. Nice. Talk a little British Open. Man, I love Jimmy. He's the best. So that'll be tonight. Hanford Dixon as well as with Gab. And, of course, come get some with Blake and Greg Williams. Go back, watch their interview with Aaron Donald. I saw some of those clips getting picked up there last week. Folks, we got it all for you right here on Big Play. Check out our website, bigplay.com. Get all of our merch. You can check all of our going on with our horse, the bigplay.com/horse. All of our shows are there. We're getting that much closer to a big announcement. I feel like we were on it for a little while, and then we're going to have something new coming out for everybody out there. So check us out, bigplay.com. Get all of our merch. Check it out there. Follow us on all of our social channels and all the channels for all the content. Check it out there. All right, back right after this. Plenty coming up in hour 2. We'll get to the grid. We got Time Hop. Got the morning update. Stay with us. Fontana Show right here on Big Play.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
It's just that's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Welcome to Big Play, a sports media team that started back in 2014, and now we're not in a garage. Look at us, incorporating some of Cleveland's favorite sports personalities, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland. Coming to you live from the shores of Lake Erie and Burke Lakefront Airport, join Team Big Play for all the best sports talk in Ohio. Check us out on social media at Big Play, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland.
Anthony Schlegel, just how physical he was. And you saw the girth and the power and everything he was bringing to the table, especially when he was a nice beefy 255 playing middle linebacker.
We were called soft last year. You don't want to be soft, especially when you come to the playoffs. So that's going to be a process throughout this season of establishing us as a harder team here in the
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby as Authentic takes them around the far turn. Tis the Laws making his move now, and they're into the stretch. These two stride for stride. Authentic, tis the Law. Here's the wire. Authentic has won the Kentucky
All right, welcome back. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Subscribe YouTube channel. We're also up on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Matt Fontana Show. Across the board, we got it all for you. Ryan's got the stories, and I got one I got to bring up at the end, man. I know sports memorabilia is a big thing, and people like having trinkets or like, I spent money on this. Do you really want something from Kobe in your house? We'll discuss it. And the fact that somebody's about to pay 7 figures for it, I'll tell you what it is coming up. Ryan's got the stories morning update. Please take it away, Ryan.
All righty. Well, the Guardians, they do drop 2 out of 3 to the Padres. 3-7 in their last 10 games. They look to get right against the Tigers. Cookie Carrasco on the mound for the Guards, but Tigers do have Tariq Skubal on the mound. He's 10-3 on the year, Matt, with a 2.4 ERA.
He is filth. I mean, the gut would tell me what? Take the under, right? Carrasco's on the hill. See, we got her. I've got an over-under of an even 7. I hate that. Guardians are the dog tonight. Tigers a minus 125 favorite on the money line, minus a 1.5 on the run line. Again, over-under 7. I might boost that up to about 7.5. We'll see. Guardians bats, man, like... You maybe thought the time off was going to help. You were scuffling coming in. You're scuffling going back out. The thing is, you will get no rest. You have to face a Tigers team, which if you're not on, they're going to smoke you. And then you got to go play the Phillies this weekend. The pitching is doing enough. And I still want the Guardians to go make a trade for a pitcher. But it's almost at this point now to wake up the lineup. And, I think there's still... elements of Vogt has made some pretty big changes, right? Like you've now put Angel Martinez. He is now your everyday center fielder. Now he's actually producing, right? Like that's not so much your worry, but it's Josh Naylor going 0 for 3. He did have an RBI, I guess. Like Schneemann has fallen out. You have nothing from Jimenez. What are you doing with Brent? Like the other guys that were kind of on the periphery, they're not showing up anymore. Fry's not an everyday guy. You put him in there against lefties, that's fine. Dude, Kwan has dropped below 350. And I'm not trying to rip Steven Kwan. I hope he wins the batting title. People are talking, oh my God, can he get near 400? That's over. He's batting below 350 now. They got to find some. And they've had the changes, right? They've had some lineup changes here. But you're not going with the key guys. It's Kwan who went 0 for 4. It's Jose who's just 1 for 4, 270 on the year. Josh Naylor, man, 239. Unless he's hitting jacks, man, I don't think you can live with that in the middle of that lineup. The thing is, have you now then turned your attention to maybe they do need to go get a bat? Maybe that's now what your attention needs to be. I'm now making a trade to wake these guys up, to send a little message that we got to go here. We got to get this thing turned around. You got a tough one tonight. We'll place our wagers on that a little bit later in the show, but Guards got to find something, man. They got to find something.
All right. Well, it was reported Saturday night that the Cavaliers and Evan Mobley have agreed on an anticipated 5-year, $224 million max rookie extension. That deal could become worth as much as $269 million. Mobley becomes the 4th member of the 2021 NBA draft class to earn that 5-year rookie max.
Yeah, he made the All-NBA defensive team, so that's what triggers that. Obviously, more growth to be had. And it was never a question about Evan Mobley. You were going to sign him to that deal. The future is, where do you think it's going to be? And our Twitter question is up this morning at Matt Fontana Show. We asked everybody, which Cavs player is more tied to the team's success for the future? We're at about 70-30 Donovan Mitchell. Now, I made the case for Evan Mobley because I believe I know what I'm going to get out of Donovan Mitchell. It's the X factor that's Evan Mobley. If Evan Mobley becomes the player or even a semblance of the player that you think he can be, now we're talking about some stuff. Now I'm going to be really excited about the potential for this team. If take players out of it, right? If you were to build an NBA team to go win a championship, which 2 positions would be the first 2 that you would take?
Wing and center? Or forward?
Probably. You need that out of Evan Mobley. And if you want to say wing and guard, because you would say Giannis and Dame, and I guess Luka's a little different with Kyrie, right? the Celtics are the interesting one because they just have two dominant wings, but they can bring the ball up the court. Jokic with the Nuggets, like they're just built a little bit different. But you look at the Timberwolves, right? They have big floor-stretching guys, and you've got an electric guard in Anthony Edwards. Shy, electric guard there with the Thunder. The path is there. It's just, can Evan Mobley become the guy that you need him to be? You're right. I don't need him to be Jokic. I don't need him to be Giannis. But to just have some sort of semblance on that outside game. Because as great as Donovan Mitchell is, he can't do it by himself. I think strictly number one from a positional type of situation. I can see wings dominating games. I've seen LeBron do that. I don't know if we live in the world of Steph Curry's anymore, where a guard can truly dominate a game or a series. You saw Jalen Brunson do everything, and I know he had a broken hand, but you saw him do everything he could, and they still didn't win. They still didn't go to the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals. Donovan Mitchell will need help. He's going to need that out of Evan Mobley. And I also, not trying to wish time away, but the future being written about Donovan's future here, I think is also tied to Evan Mobley. My vote's Evan Mobley. My vote, I think, is more on what Evan Mobley is going to bring to this team. And you have to develop, and I think that's why Kenny Atkinson is here. Johnny Bryant coming in, I think, is going to help Donovan Mitchell, too. The development. One of the things for this season, in a year where we're going to be trying to trade away guys from the jump, from the tip of the opening game, you're going to be talking about trade. The development of Evan Mobley and what you see out of him this season is paramount. It is absolutely paramount for the Cavs. And I hope it gets there. I do.
All right, well, staying with the Cavs, they did wrap up Summer League. They will unfortunately not be back-to-back Summer League champions, however, but Jalen Tyson, their rookie draft pick this year, had himself a pretty good summer. The final 2 games, man, of Summer League, he averaged 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists.
I'm excited. And Summer League is hard because you want to answer the question, do they belong, right? There are some guys, and people could freak out about Alex Sarr and what he didn't do, but that's a little taste of, can you see this guy belonging? The thing about Jalen Tyson, creating his own shot, which everybody in the NBA can do now, but all I need him is to be my second or third guy off the bench. That's it. And especially now that you believe there's no trades to be had, you still have Karis LeVert. You still have him coming off the bench. Like, what's happening with Isaac Okoro here? There's a place for Jalen Tyson, 4 minutes to be had here. And I'm not throwing away Imani Bates either. Saw some nice things from him. He'll be on a 2-way deal, I'm sure, with the Cavs coming up. There's a little intrigue there. There is a little intrigue. You take for the talent. You take for the body type, which I liked with that pick. And just, hey, man, the confidence building, I think, is probably the biggest thing, too. I want Jalen Tyson to believe like he belongs. Say, hey, man, it played well. Because some of those guys were going to be in the rotation for the Cavs this season coming up. But a little chemistry, get a little confidence. I liked what I saw.
All right, Matt. Well, I know your thoughts and opinions about the Baseball Hall of Fame, but the 2024 class is here.
Yeah.
It includes Adrian Beltre, Todd Helton, Joe Mauer, and Jim Leyland.
I was crapping on Adrian Beltre for a little bit. Because, Ryan, do you know he only made 4 All-Star games in his career? That's a 20-year career.
I would have guessed a lot more.
And he made only 4 All-Star games. Now, here is the stat that I think I got to tell you, because this was brought up to me last night. He retired as the best hitting third baseman in history. He had the 3rd highest WAR of all time amongst any third baseman in history. And he retired the most career hits and RBIs for any third baseman and 3rd in home runs. Now, that gets a little weird because sometimes when you think of legacy third basemen, they started as shortstops, right? Cal Ripken, Alex Rodriguez, they played other positions. Adrian Beltre was always there. 5-time Gold Glove Award winner, 4-time Silver Slugger. I guess the other shock for me is that he got 95% of the votes. What even close? I thought Joe Mauer was a Hall of Famer. You win an MVP. I think you deserve to go. Todd Helton. Do you think it should be knocked that he was in Colorado for his whole career? Juiced up, with the altitude? Not really? Getting a little dicey? Are we getting into it a little bit too much there, Todd Helton? The thing is, Gary Sheffield's done. That was his 10th year of eligibility. He doesn't make it. Sorry to Victor Martinez, former Cleveland Indian Guardian. He's off the ballot. He didn't get 5%. Every time with Cooperstown, for as many issues as baseball has, I like their Hall of Fame voting. I do. A lot of votes. You get 10 years, then you're off the ballot. You go to the veteran committee if you need to make it through that way. They're never going to let the roid guys in. You see numbers going down for Manny and A-Rod and all that kind of stuff. Like, truly, is Todd Helton the Hall of Fame? I guess, fine, whatever. But you got some marquee classes coming up. Next year, you're going to get Ichiro and CC. You got Yachty and Pujols coming up in a couple of years. So it's going to be fun. And I think, again, for all the things that baseball might not get right, I actually really like their voting for the Hall of Fame. I think they do it the right way. So I know Leland deserved, obviously, to go. Underwhelming to a point, but eventually we're going to get away from the steroid era, guys. And I think that starts in the next couple of years where you're really able to push away from that, really able to focus on the post-steroid era, and these guys will weed themselves off the ballot. Pettit won't be on the ballot much longer. A-Rod's not going to make it. You shuffle those guys out. Do I care if they make the Hall of Fame? Not really. Like, if I took Fontana Jr. to Cooperstown and there was a Barry Bonds thing in there, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that's Barry Bonds. Arguably the greatest player to ever play the game. He used a lot of steroids. That's it. I would say that. And I'd walk on by and go look at the other ones. I don't know. They got the bug up their ass about this, and they're not going to let him in. It is what it is. But I was sleeping on Adrian Beltre, man. I really was. 3,100 hits, 477 home runs. I was sleeping on him a little bit. But congratulations to the class of 2024.
All right, Matt. Well, the British Open concluded on Sunday, and Xander Schauffele wins his second major of the year. Xander Schauffele becomes just the sixth golfer to win his first two majors in the same year, and he's also the sixth to win the PGA Championship and the Open in the same year. Tiger Woods did that twice in 2000 and 2006.
They had the list. I think he's like the 13th or you just said, right? The 13th, 14th golfer to win two majors in a year.
Sixth.
No, not those two. Like any two majors.
Right. No, they're both. He's sixth. There's both. So he's the sixth golfer to win his first two majors in the same year.
Two majors.
And he's also the sixth to win both the PGA and Open in the same year.
So then there's another stat. He's like the 14th golfer in history to just win two majors in a year. And it was like, Jack did it twice. Tiger 4 freaking times. Everybody else on that list once. Jordan Spieth won the Open and the Masters. Brooks won the PGA and the Open. And then there's Tiger, who did it 4 freaking times, which is insane. The other stat is it's the first time since 1982 that an American won all 4 majors. Because even when Tiger did the Tiger Slam, Vijay Singh won the Masters. Then Tiger did the Opens, the PGA, and then won the Masters the following year. So it's the first time since 1982 that all 4 majors won by a United States golfer. It's fun. I think golf did the right thing bumping up the PGA because now we're all into football. We'll have the players, or not the players. You have the FedEx Cup coming up, which is always fun with the playoffs. I just love open golf. I love that you got British Open conditions. It was rainy, it was cold, it was windy. That's what I like to watch. But, it's kind of unfortunate that now until we get to the President's Cup, which not too many people care about, golf's pretty much over. It's kind of sad.
What did you think of Rory's collapse?
I mean, it's...
What did he finish, plus 12?
Yeah, I didn't even make the cut. But, that's the tough thing is watching those guys struggle. Like, you got to remember, even if your game is all tuned up, it takes one blow-up hole, or it takes a couple of holes for you to go really bad and go south.
What did Scheffler finish?
He put a charge on late. I was watching him. He hit some shots. Hang on, let's get through the final.
What did John Daly finish?
I don't think he made the cut. So Schauffele at 9 under. I did feel bad for Justin Rose. He was pushing hard. Billy Horschel. So Scheffler finished 1 under, tied for 7th. Shot 70, 70, 71, and 72 to finish it on out. What'd you say, John Daly? He withdrew after shooting an opening round 81. So he's like, I'm done. I'm out of here. Not happening there. I was the kiss of death. Every guy that I put $1 on over this weekend was atrocious. Was so bad. But yeah, again, for me, I think for a lot of people, the season is, kind of done for golf, but you'll have the playoffs coming up, and it's just I love watching, being able to wake up and watch the whole day. So shout out to Xander Schauffele, good for him, and again, fun to watch. But yeah, everybody's on Tiger season's done, not gonna play again until next year. Yeah. So get him healthy, get him going, see how it goes.
All right, well, you wanted to say a story
this
about
Kobe
Bryant
Bryant thing. Okay, so this came up this morning, and I understand that obviously we're sports fans, been in the sports media my whole life. Like, I grew up trading cards, right? I grew up tickets to games and signed jerseys and shoes. It gets weird with some of the things that hit auction blocks, and I think especially when you talk about players that have passed away. Now, I know Kobe Bryant and just the tragedy that was, losing him and his daughter and the people in that plane crash, in the helicopter crash. It was awful, right? Well, apparently, his locker is going to hit the auction block. It was set to be destroyed during renovations at the Staples Centers, but it was saved by can you imagine that? A maintenance worker who's like, that's Kobe's locker, pulls it out, and now it's going to be going for up to $1 million on an auction block. The worker kept it in a storage unit for years, had the locker nameplate, and actually had then purchased the nameplate to put it back on the locker. And now it's going to hit on Sotheby's, expected to sell for up to $1.2 million. And a portion of that bid will go to charity. Why would you want that in your house? I don't know if you believe in ghosts or spirits or things like that. I don't want that in my house. And I get it. Kobe Bryant, I'm sure there's a ton of Lakers fans. There's a ton of Kobe Bryant fans. I think we're jumping the shark on some of this stuff, right? And the legitimacy of some of these things, I'm sure it's real. But, like, would you want Kobe Bryant's locker in your house? I feel like that's bad juju. I don't want that. And I'm not one of these big memorabilia people that chases all this kind of stuff around. Like, I have some baseball cards. Sure, that's fine. Bobbleheads and all that kind of stuff. $1.2 million for a Kobe Bryant locker. Because what do you buy that? You buy it to assume it's either going to appreciate in value and you can make money off of it, or just to put it in your house and tell people, yeah, man, I got Kobe Bryant's locker over there. Like, is that weird? I think this is a really weird thing to have a guy, again, unfortunately, tragically passed away, and you're buying his locker.
I mean, I would spend my $1 million elsewhere.
That's
personally.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Other things in this lot going to Sotheby's, I think it is. Michael Jordan's game-worn shorts from his final game with the Wizards. Why would you want that? I don't know. Some with the World Cup. Oh, Olympic star Florence Griffith Joyner's gold medal from 1988 is up. Online bidding goes live today. Can I find this? Hang on. Stand by. Sotheby's. Fine Arts Watches wine auctions. Upcoming auctions. Hang on. I want to find this Kobe Bryant thing. I want to see what the bid's at right now. Search Sotheby's. Kobe Bryant. Right now. Here it is. So first off, they do this by photo matching it. So what they do is because this guy could have built a locker and go, this is Kobe's, right? But they photo matched it. The current bid is $700,000. The reserve is met. So it'll go. What's the other things up for this right now? Signed pair of Kobe shoes for like that stuff. Okay, $45. A game-worn Adidas jersey from Kobe, $85,000 right now. Upcoming auctions. Do you want a Jason Tatum finals jersey? It's going live next week. Bidding will start at $30,000 for a Jason Tatum finals jersey. Kyrie Irving starts at $8,000 from all of that. I guess, hey, man, again, if you got the money, I don't know what to tell you. Go get it. Get it done. Ooh, whiskey auction. Click on this. Hang on now.
Go buy your Xbox before you buy that.
That's probably what I should do. If only we got paid to do the grid. Well, we'd be poor doing that. But somebody else won. Hey, shout out to Smitty last week. We announced our winner.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We did. Ryan wasn't here, all good. But we announced our winner last week because Smitty, maybe we'll get a note. Ryan, we do 5 today, 5 this week, I should say. We got to do another giveaway. It all starts today with the grid. Here's a go. Player for each. 9 minutes for us to do it. 50 career sacks. If we get all 5 over the next week, we'll do another giveaway. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's start here. Oh, wait, let me start my timer here. Go.
All right. Just want to do Nick Bosa.
That's sure. Does he have 50? Are you sure?
I mean, he's been in the league for, what, 6 years now?
Okay, go ahead.
He has to.
He's got it. Okay. Khalil Mack. got one here for you. John Abraham. Do you remember him? He's like near the top of all-time sack leaders, and he played for the Falcons. Go John Abraham. Nice. All right, now we open things on up here. Open mind.
We're going to start.
I don't
know. Montana, right?
Yes.
Right? He did play for the Chiefs, right?
Yep. Joe Montana.
Did Jerick McKinnon play for the Bears?
I don't. That's a good one. Chad Henne came to mind there. I think he started.
Didn't Nick Foles play for the Chiefs?
We always forget that, and I think you're right. Now, wait. Because does not Nick Foles work for the Colts, too? Am I misremembering that? Hold off on that. We'll use Nick Foles for one of those two.
Okay.
Can you come up with a Bear Colts connection here?
Is that... No. Deonta Foreman didn't play for the Colts, did he?
I don't... that kind of sounds right, to be honest with you. That kind of sounds right. I don't know why.
Did Stephon Gilmore play for a year for the Bears? Or am I tripping?
I think you're tripping. I don't know. It's a tough one.
All right, let's just save those.
Okay.
Chiefs, Falcons.
Chiefs, Falcons. Okay, I don't think Matt Schaub worked. I don't think he ever played in Kansas City. I don't think Roddy White works. Cordell Patterson does not work there. Can't think of a tight end. Kicker's not coming to mind. We might have to go legacy on that. We might have to go deep, not deep, but back into the time, go back in time on some of those.
Yeah.
All right, Colts. Let's try to rip through some Colts here. So obviously Andrew Luck never played anywhere else.
Is
Jacoby Brissett.
Is that not DeForest Buckner?
Yes, good call.
Right?
Very good call on DeForest Buckner. Yep, that's a good call. Trade him, then they had to pay him. DeForest Buckner, good call. Colts, Bears, Colts, Falcons. I don't think Dallas Clark went to either one of those other teams. Did Austin Hooper play for the Colts?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. He went to Tennessee after here. Are you sure?
I don't believe
If
so.
we get really down to it, we might have to do Austin Hooper there for some reason.
I think you're tripping.
Okay. Set that aside here. We always forget about Eric Ebron.
True, we do. I don't think he played for the Falcons, though.
Did he play for the Bears, though?
I just remember him Colts, Lions, Steelers. I don't know if he did.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, if we can't strip it out, because Nick Foles will figure one of those out there.
Yeah. Chiefs, Bears. Huh.
Bears. I think Chad Henne. Go Chad Henne. I feel
For which one?
for Bears Chiefs.
All right. Are you positive?
Pretty sure.
Well, let's go 8 for 9 at least.
Oh my god.
It happens.
I was believing it, man. I don't know why.
Well, then what was the one you thought for? You said, no, Austin. I'm almost positive Austin Hooper did not play for the Colts.
I guess I can Google it now. Hoopa! He did not. It's a good call. Falcons, Browns, Titans, Raiders, Patriots is playing it out there for Austin Hooper. Ah, son of... Cordell Patterson never played for the Colts, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. Friend of show, Josh Cribbs. I know he played for the Colts, but I don't think he ever played for the Falcons.
No. Marlon Mack ever go anywhere?
That's a good pull. I don't know. He's obviously, he's not there anymore, but That's a good poll. Does Jim Plunkett work there?
Oh, wow. Wow.
What?
Matt Ryan.
Good call. Good call. Jim Plunkett does not work, by the way, for either one of those teams. So well done on Matt Ryan.
Is it Chiefs Falcons?
Chiefs Falcons. Huh. I don't know, man. Obviously, it's not Alex Smith. It's tough, man. Tough one for us today. Damn. We got... LaShawn McCoy didn't play in Atlanta. Jamal Charles didn't go there. Mike Vick never played in Kansas City. Man, that's a tough one. If I had to rip one, I would probably rip Matt Schaub, but I don't think that works. Yeah, would not have worked.
Wow.
What?
Tony Gonzalez.
I just screwed us up on Chad Henne, man.
Yeah, Nick Foles.
See, Nick Foles would have worked for both, but then we would have had to come up with the Bears.
Which one do you want to see? Which one?
Go Bears.
Chiefs. Jared Allen. I didn't know that.
I should have gotten that one, yeah.
Kyle Orton.
That's maybe who I was thinking of instead of Chad Henne. I think that's who I was thinking of.
I mean, outside of that, I don't really recognize anybody else.
Yeah, that's fine. Now, can you go back over?
Byron Pringle, wow.
Well, that's a pull. Go back over to Bears Colts and see if we could have come up with something other than Nick Foles on that one.
Jim Harbaugh.
You're right. God.
Brian Hoyer. We always forget Brian Hoyer. Hoyer.
You're right.
And I mean, that's about it.
That's about it. It's a bad day for us, but we'll get back on the grid as we go. All right, let's catch our final break of the morning. We come back. We'll dive into a little bit of time up. Ken Miles is going to stop by. We'll talk a little bit about my racehorse, our latest with the naming contest for our horse here at Big Play, and we'll get to our bets for the Guardians tonight.
Shout out Angelo real quick.
Yeah.
She said yes.
Congratulations, man. Good. Wait, well, I'm spoiled it for him. He said he was getting engaged. I was like, hopefully your fiance is not watching. Congratulations, man. Seriously, that's awesome. So well done on that. Congratulations. That's awesome. So there we go. All right, coming on back. Plenty to get to. Fontana show right here in Big Play. Stay with us.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
It's just that's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Welcome to Big Play, a sports media team that started back in 2014, and now we're not in a garage. Look at us, incorporating some of Cleveland's favorite sports personalities, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland. Coming to you live from the shores of Lake Erie and Burke Lakefront Airport, join Team Big Play for all the best sports talk in Ohio. Check us out on social media at Big Play, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland.
Anthony Schlegel, just how physical he was. And you saw the girth and the power and everything he was bringing to the table, especially when he was a nice beefy 255 playing middle linebacker.
We were called soft last year. You don't want to be soft, especially when you come to the playoffs. So that's going to be a process throughout this season of establishing us as a harder team here in the
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby as Authentic takes them around the far turn. 'Tis the laws making his move now, and they're into the stretch. These
All right, let's dive into a little bit of time up here on the 22nd of July. Report date for Browns rookies out there in Berea, but we'll head on back and tell you what happened this day in history. Welcome back. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram. We're also up on Twitch, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Matt Fontana Show. Sashi Brown got hired by the Wizards this day 2019 as their chief planning and operations officer. How did that work out for them, by the way? Because now he's back in football as the president of the Ravens. Like, I don't know, man. Obviously, he's a really smart guy. And I guess what he did with the Browns kind of worked. Like, you got Miles, you got Baker, you got Njoku. I mean, you found the guys. Now, I think it could be maybe a debate on the guys he picked versus, like, Dorsey. Would you pick Denzel Ward like Dorsey did? Would you found Nick Chubb? I don't know. But in those Sashi wars of the past and him versus Hugh, I think maybe the mistake was just not letting Hugh in as telling him, like, dude, this is what it's going to be. Whether he lied to Hugh or not, we know Hugh has got an axe to grind, all that other kind of stuff. But obviously, Sashi's a smart dude. He keeps getting jobs. He's a president of the Ravens. Yeah. He's the president of the Ravens. But he got hired by the Wizards this day, 2019. Remember when Ryan Braun was, like, so adamant that he didn't take steroids and Aaron Rodgers defended him? Well, he was suspended the rest of the season this day, 2013, for steroid use.
He was good, man.
He was. He's up for the Hall of Fame coming up in a couple of years. I don't think he's going to get in, but did he win an MVP?
I think so.
I think he did, right? I just remember that because Rodgers was, and this is a bad pun, I don't mean it to be, but it is, like, he was going to bat for him so bad. He won the MVP in 2011. 6-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger Award. Here it was. He came under scrutiny for a testosterone test that he failed in 2011 and his connection to the Biogenesis America Clinic in 2012. This day, 2013, Braun was suspended without pay for the remainder of the 2013 season and playoffs, totaling 65 regular season games. He made public his accusations of anti-Semitism in the testing facility, saying the employee administering the urine sample made comments towards him. Of course, he is Jewish. That test was dismissed for procedural mishandling. However, he was suspended 2 years later for his ties to Biogenesis and his disparagement of the employee. He was subsequently admitted using PEDs during his 2011 MVP season. Yeah, Rodgers was just, like, trying to help him out and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of blew up on him this day 2013. Also this day 2013, the opening of Browns training camp. Rob Chajinski talking about Brandon Whedon's performance and Josh Gordon, his reaction of when he was suspended again for marijuana use. That was this day 2013 with Brandon Whedon, Josh Gordon, and Rob Chajinski leading the Browns into training camp. This day 1999, Mike Hargrove submitted an incorrect lineup card, which Charles Nagy was then forced to bat instead of the DH. He went 0 for 2, and the Blue Jays beat the Indians 4-3. Isn't that like one of those old things in baseball, like putting in the lineup card, exchanging of the lineup card? I think it's weird, but he screwed up. John Dillinger was gunned down this day, 1934, by the FBI. Famous bank robbery. Have you seen Public Enemies?
No.
Solid flick. Solid flick with Johnny Depp. This day, 1793, Alexander Mackenzie became the first recorded human to complete a transcontinental cross of North America when he reached the Pacific Ocean. This day, 1793. So he did it before Lewis and Clark. And their route, didn't they, like, go up to the Pacific Northwest and came back? But can you imagine just leaving that town and go, all right, well, we'll see you later.
Oh, man.
I hope it goes well. Uncharted areas. Don't know what you're going to see. Could you imagine when he found the Rocky Mountains? He's like, wow.
Yeah.
How do you get through that?
I don't know how they even navigate.
They just had to figure it out. Well, we start with a very happy birthday, Ryan, because they don't look a shade over 229. It's a very happy birthday to the city of Cleveland, celebrating today, 229 years old.
Wow.
Or 228. I'm sorry. I don't mean to add on. 228 years old. Our fine city this day is incorporated back then. So happy birthday goes to the city of Cleveland. Other birthdays included Ezekiel Elliott, Keyshawn Johnson, former wide receiver Tim Brown, Steven Jackson running back, Selena Gomez, Prince George, Alex Trebek, Shawn Michaels, David Spade, Willem Dafoe, Danny Glover, and John Leguizamo. All celebrating birthdays. That's a pretty solid list right there. All right, 2 movies and a television show for you to get to today. We start this day, 2011. Oh, man, I don't want to lay this up for you. A guy goes under an experimental treatment.
Deadpool?
No.
Well, that guess didn't come out till late, but experimental treatment. Captain America?
That is correct. The first Avenger. I didn't know where else to go with. I was going to say he gets stuck in the ice and somehow still alive. Solid. And again, like the base level of like the first Iron Man, the first Hulk, the first Thor, the first Captain America, all really good. But Captain America, the first Avenger, this day, 2011. All right, we go to a television show. This day, 1996. Now, the interesting thing is this show has gone through quite a few different hosts. But it has actually come back full circle to the most well-known host.
What year?
1996. It airs Monday through Thursday. I don't want to say the network because then you'll probably get it.
The Price is Right?
No, wait. Price is Right is the 70s.
Oh, wow.
1996 draws from its comedy and satire from recent news stories, as well as political figures, media organizations, and often use self-referential humor for this show.
Saturday Night Live was way before that.
Way before that. It's not that. So again, it started in 96. There was an original host that only did it for a couple years. Then the main host, like when you think of this show, you think of this host. He did it for about 16 years, stepped away. Somebody else came in for a little while. The show actually went away. Now it's back with the main host that you think of.
What?
Again, draws from its comedy and satire while discussing the latest news stories.
Is it like Stephen Colbert or something?
You're barking up the right tree. Kind of. I can give you the network. I think it's on Comedy Central. Hey, it doesn't know.
Tosh was later than that.
It's not Tosh.
Chappelle?
Not Tosh. No. It's the longest running program in Comedy Central history and has won 25 primetime Emmys.
What?
Jon Stewart.
I don't know.
The Daily Show.
No, I
the
wouldn't have
Daily
got
Show.
that.
Because it was Craig Kilborn into Jon Stewart. Then Trevor Noah took it over for a little while. Then he stepped away, and now Jon Stewart's back in
watched
doing
it.
I can't say I've watched it either. I would say, again, not watching it. I'm assuming it's just one of those things that there's no original ideas anymore, and you kind of bring it back out. But yes, The Daily Show. This day, 1996. All right, I don't know if you're going to get this one, but we'll see where it goes. A film that came out this day, 1983. It was the third film in a series of films that frankly should never have been made. Because the original is a cinematic masterpiece. Second one was bad. This one was really bad. And then they made a fourth one for ungodly known reasons.
Need a little more than that.
Okay? It has to do with SeaWorld.
SeaWorld.
So again, the first movie in this series was a masterpiece.
We talked about Free Willy the other day.
It's not that. It's something gets into SeaWorld and wreaks havoc.
Oh, we talked about this a while. Was it like something with Jaws?
Jaws 3D.
Jaws 3D.
Jaws 3D. I love Jaws. It's my favorite movie in history. The 3D, so by the way, too, because it is actually like old school, you'd wear the glasses and you could see 3D stuff. It is a giant steaming pile of crap is what it is. And the weirdest thing about even the second, third, and fourth one, all the special effects are crappier than the movie that came out 8 years prior. Like the 1975 one has better special effects than one that came out in 1983. Jaws 3D is terrible. Dennis Quaid, Bess Armstrong, Louis Gossett Jr., and Simon McCorkindale. So do you know even the story of Jaws 3? So Dennis Quaid plays Mike Brody, like, Chief Brody's son. He becomes an engineer for SeaWorld, and he works there with his wife. She's a dolphin trainer. And a giant shark gets into SeaWorld and wreaks havoc, kills people, gets after the dolphins and all that kind of stuff. It's not good.
Got an 11%
Yeah, it's not great. It's really bad. Doesn't mean I haven't watched it. Doesn't mean that I won't watch it. Here's the crazy thing. On an $18 million budget, it still made $88 million at the box office. Critical reception. The reception for the movie was generally negative. Variety calls it tepid and fails to linger long enough on the Great White. 11% rotten rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which she said 3 out of 5 out of 10. It's a cheese-soaked ocean thriller with no evident reason to exist.
Wow. That's what people say about me.
Yeah, that's the kind of the show. There's no evident reason for it to exist. But Jaws 3D. Dude, it's not great, but it came out this in 1983.
What's worse, that or Jurassic Park 3?
Probably this one, to be honest with you. Like, at least Jurassic Park 3, you got new dinosaurs. Like, it's a shark. It's the same shark over and over and over again, right? There's a line in Jaws 2 where Brody looks at this doctor and he goes, "You think a shark could replace a shark?" She goes, "They don't take things personally, Chief Brody." And so it's like it's the same shark over and over and over again. How many times can you do that, right? At least with Jurassic Park, you had some different dinosaurs to figure out. I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at. But yes, it was a piece of crap with Jaws 3D. All right, you want to catch a break? We'll get Ken in here. All right, we're going to talk racehorse coming up. We'll get our bets in for the Guardians game tonight. Stay with us. Fontana Show, right here in Big Play.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
It's just that's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Welcome to Big Play, a sports media team that started back in 2014, and now we're not in a garage. Look at us, incorporating some of Cleveland's favorite sports personalities, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland. Coming to you live from the shores of Lake Erie and Burke Lakefront Airport, join Team Big Play for all the best sports talk in Ohio. Check us out on social media at Big Play, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland.
Anthony Schlegel, just how physical he was. You saw the girth and the power and everything he was bringing to the table, especially when he was a nice beefy 255 playing middle linebacker.
We were called soft last year. You don't want to be soft, especially when you come to the playoffs. So that's going to be a process throughout this season of establishing us as a harder team here in the
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby as Authentic takes them around the far turn. 'Tis the laws making his move now, and they're into the stretch. These two stride for stride. Authentic, 'tis the law. Here's the wire. Authentic has won the Kentucky Derby.
right, welcome back. Fontana Show right here on Big Play, Twitter, X, also Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. Drop a follow across there. We'll get to our Guardians plays for tonight, but we're so happy. Ken Miles going to join us. We got to talk the latest with My Racehorse, myracehorse.com, and our naming for the new horse. So we know this. We've sold out the shares already for Lahaina Luck 22. That is the name of the horse for now, Ken, but we are in the process of coming up with the name. You can go over to Big Play on Twitter, and I retweeted it this morning as well. You can cast your vote for Aloha Money, Big Play Mo, Big Play Caller, Improbable Luck. Ryan had the graphic up earlier for all the names. Ken, we wanted the fans to be involved. This isn't the end-all be-all because, you know, you and I have been talking about this. There's a whole process. And you can't just come up with a name and go, hey, this is the name of the horse. There's a lot that goes in, but we wanted the fans to have a little bit of input on this as well.
Yeah, so it's an exciting time. And again, I got to just shout out the fans. The response to this has been so incredible. And this is what we wanted. It was to be a journey for everybody. Remind everybody again, Lahaina Luck 22 is the horse's name because you take the name of the mother. And he was born in 22, and the mother was Lahaina Luck. The dad was Improbable. As we told everybody, come up with names. What we try and do is keep the lineage of the family name all the way as far back as you can. Doesn't have to be. And we're trying to work in Big Play, and so there you have it. But have you shared the percentages of where we're at right now with the fans?
It's right now 2% is divided. Well, actually, we've got an update now.
Okay, let's hear the update.
Aloha Money is out to a little bit of a lead. 4%. They're at 32. Improbable Luck is now in second at 28. Then Big Play Mo, then Play Caller is the final one because we can only do the 4 now. Again, you say Mo Me the Money. That's also involved with that. So right now, the fans are saying Aloha Money with Improbable Luck in second.
Yeah, so I like it, and I guess the play there is Lahaina Luck and the Hawaiian aspect of it. But I have to tell you, when we ask for submissions from everybody, we've got close to 2,000 submissions within 3 days, and 200 people thought they were the ones that came up with the name Improbable Luck, including our very own man Fontana.
I'll take no credit.
Although I have to say, in all fairness for you, brother, you were the first one to say Improbable Luck.
There we go.
And then I went on a bunch of shows and said Improbable Luck seemed like it was a name. So I think we maybe planted the seeds. So
we'll see.
As far as it goes, I'm going to say, Matt, you're the guy that came up with the name.
Well, we still got to get that figured out.
We still got to get it figured out. It's going to be a vote, but it's going to be announced.
You know, Ken, this is the kind of stuff we talk about My Racehorse, and unfortunately, fortunately, if you got in, but unfortunately, the shares are sold out for this horse. This is the journey we're going on. This is the fun about it. We got a lot of big news with Seize the Gray, which is the other horse for us here with My Racehorse, and some big news about the race this weekend coming up, stud fees, all that kind of stuff. But that's when you get involved in My Racehorse, and we highly recommend everybody just check the website out. There's plenty of other horses on there. There might be another one in the future for Big Play. You never know. But this is the journey that you go on. The naming, the updates, the training, and then eventually seeing them potentially in big races. This is a lot of fun. Like, I'm so invested. Like, I think this is just so cool. It's awesome.
You know, it's fun about this, too, and I get asked all the time, well, where is our horse? Whatever his name is right now. He's at a farm in Kentucky and just getting strengthened up. They grow so much when they're 2 years old. And I was checking with the powers to be this weekend. It looks like he's probably 2 weeks still away from going to Wayne Lucas's camp.
Okay.
And that's going to be in Churchill Downs. So I at one point thought he was going to go to Saratoga. It looks like he's going to probably meet Wayne Lucas. Wayne runs two strings. He runs a bunch of horses out of Churchill Downs, and he runs a bunch of horses out of Saratoga this time of year. So it's looking like it'll probably be Churchill Downs, but if not Saratoga. One of those two places is where his debut race will be. If everything goes according to plan, probably looking at September time frame.
Nice. That'll be fun.
Obviously, we'll keep everybody posted. Once we get, though, out of the farm where he's at right now and gets to wherever Wayne decides to put him, then we're going to have a lot of fun because we're going to have cameras down there and we're going to watch the progression on the racetrack, starting gate, all that fun stuff.
And that's what I love about the app, the My Racehorse app. When you're on that, you're getting these updates. We obviously will be sending a lot of updates through us with Big Play. You're involved in this. It's something that we want the fans to be involved with us, and the watching the growth here is great. And again, I'm a prime example. I don't know much about horse racing. You do, and it's nice and easy just to follow along. I'm invested, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and for you viewers that didn't get a chance to buy this horse, we're already talking about horse number 2. I don't want to go too far with that one.
Yeah, no, hold off. But
hey, this is the Big Play horse. So as a viewer, we're going to take you on this ride too. And we're already talking about having a very fun event down here at the Burke Lounge for when that first race is. Maybe there's going to be an opportunity for our viewers to come to that. Certainly the shareholders will. But again, that's all what we're doing this for.
Seize the Gray. Big race coming up this weekend as well. There was some news on his stud fee. And again, that was the first foray, and all he did was go out and win a Triple Crown race, which is just insane. Latest updates and how you guys feeling for this weekend. A stacked field this weekend coming up, which is fun.
Stacked field. So, again, still a little surreal that we won the Preakness. In fact, got word that our Preakness trophy will be coming. I think there's probably only going to be about 4 iterations of the trophy. We'll be getting one, and I'll be bringing it here on your show.
Nice.
To show the fans, because that's what we're all shooting for in this race. But so after the Triple Crown races, and this is, again, what we want to teach the fans, there's still a lot more that goes on during the horse racing year. So for the 3-year-olds, again, these are the horses that were in the Triple Crown races. There was a big race this past Saturday, the Haskell. That was at Monmouth Park in New Jersey. And they're all trying to vie for the horse of the year as a 3-year-old. And that's so important because then that leads to stallion fees. And, of course, there's prize money with these races. It was a $1 million race this past Saturday. And Dornock, the horse that beat Seize the Gray down the stretch in the Belmont, won and now has claimed the #1 position as a 3-year-old. This Saturday, Seize the Gray will be going against Sierra Leone and Fierceness in the Jim Dandy, and that's at Saratoga. And that's a big race because these horses are all lining up for the Traverse, which I think is a $1.5 million race in September at Saratoga. Again, everything leading up to the end of the year classic, which is called the Breeders' Cup Classic. The Breeders' Cup Classic race is for the top horses. Doesn't matter how old you are. Sometimes a 3-year-old can get in that race, but if we can't get in there, then what we want to be is in the Breeders' Cup 3-year-old Classic to try and determine who the best 3-year-old was. So,
and like you said, that's important for end of the year, horse of the year, to be #1, to help all those stud fees. And again, the great updates that I'm getting from my racehorse, just even on Seize the Gray, is there's some big news on that as well.
Yeah, big news on that. You know, one of the things you go into this with the idea you want to have fun in the process, but certainly there's the opportunity to make some significant money when it gets to being a stallion. And put this in perspective. Authentic, who won the Kentucky Derby and went on to win the Breeders' Cup Classic. This was, I think, 2020, became Horse of the Year. His very first year, his stud fee was $75,000 per mare, and he had 229 babies the first year. That's $32 million.
Yeah.
So this could get pretty significant. By the way, his dad gets $250,000 a horse and does about the same thing, and he's done it for 10 years. So it's an incredible business. But, and this is public knowledge, we sold a significant percentage of the stallion rights to Seize the Gray. But every race that we win now in the 3-year-old season adds to the fee that they're paying for the stallion fee. So they're called kickers and bonuses. Credit out to the people at My Racehorse. They absolutely know what they're doing, and Michael Barron's negotiated a heck of a deal.
Yeah, it's great. MyRacehorse.com. The easiest thing is go follow Big Play Horse on Twitter, though, and you can see all the updates for the horses that we're running through, including the naming contest as well. So back to that, we'll obviously take the fans in. I wanted to have you on today because there's only a couple hours left on the vote.
I think we're down to 2.5 hours.
Yeah, so go vote on Big Play on Twitter X. Cast your vote there. That'll be a part of it because then again, the owners still have a say in that, and then we go back to the Jockey Club, and there's some behind-the-scenes work that I'll have to be doing. But, Ken, we should have it pretty soon on the official name for the horse and kind of moving forward on that, which will be exciting.
Yeah, shout out. I thought this was a pretty cool name, Mission Improbable. And I actually, in fact, shout out to Layla Corey's daughters. They came up with that one, but it was taken.
Oh, yeah, and that's the other part of it, too, of you got to have not only just that the other horses don't have it. Ken, I thought it was interesting that it can't even be close to another name. Like, they don't want anything that's too related to another name or anything like that. So we got to run through on quite a few of that. But we'll have big updates on that coming up. And again, we'll be watching Seize the Gray this weekend. Keep all the updates going for Lahaina Luck 20. We got to get that in while we can because now he's going to have a name and we're going to be all flipped over on that.
It's a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Ken Miles join us as always. Check it out. Big Play Horse on Twitter X. You can just go to bigplay.com/horse as well. All right, wrap it up quick for the Guardians tonight. Oh, real quick, let's announce our bracket, Ryan. We'll do this. We'll send the tweet out. We did this last week. We brought it up. We'll do it again. The best heist movie of all time. Ken, any quick thoughts on the heist movie? The Town, Inception is a good one as far as a time heist, I guess, if you want to look at it from that standpoint. But the best heist movie of all time.
What do you mean heist movie?
Like they're robbing a bank. It's all about them robbing something, or like Ocean's 11.
Okay. I guess I'm dating myself.
No, that's fine.
The Thomas Crown
That's a
affair.
good guess. That one's got to be in there. That was a heavy one that we brought up. So I'll send that tweet out for that. For the best heist movie, the Thomas Crown Affair will be in there, and we'll get our 16 and start that tomorrow. Guards up for tonight. They're the dog. I'm going to take them on the value tonight. I'm going to take a plus 105 on the money line to just get the win against the Tigers. And I think to do it, you're going to have Carlos Carrasco have a pretty solid game tonight. Give me 3 strikeouts for him. Which is you know what? Boost me to 4 at minus 165. Guardians on the money line. Steven Kwan's got to get a hit tonight. He went 0 for 4 yesterday. He'll get back on it there. Mix me in a Josh Naylor one, too. So if we go Naylor here, hit, Kwan hit, Guardians money line, and 4 strikeouts for Carlos Carrasco. We're up over plus 500 on that one. Give that to me for the Guardians tonight. They got to get right tonight against the Tigers, and certainly hope that they will. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. Appreciate everybody joining us today. As always, you can follow on Twitter, X, at Matt Fontana Show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Instagram, and Twitch. Don't miss us the rest of the day. We do have the Big Play Cleveland show tonight. Jimmy Hanlon coming in to recap the British Open. And as always, Jensen Lewis on Mondays. You've got Hanford Dixon tonight, and Blake and Greg Williams. You missed it last week. Aaron Donald was their guest. Go back and check that out on all of our platforms, but a fresh edition to come. Get some tonight as well across Big Play. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.